Hey guys, this is going to be, I think, my last video for this week, and it's going to be number 5, pattern number 5. This pattern is quite easy, quite simple, but it's a good pattern, and it's what do you find interesting? And the key thing here is the find. Find. What do you find interesting? I find traveling interesting. I find cooking interesting. In this case, find means I think. I think cooking is interesting. I think traveling is interesting. It doesn't mean like I can't find my car keys, okay? I find. Okay? It's just a sophisticated, nice way to say I think something, or in my experience. Like in my experience. Okay? There's another point. What do you find interesting is correct, or what do you find to be interesting? I find blah 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 to be interesting. But you see it's in brackets. This is optional. I find cooking interesting. I find cooking to be interesting. I find traveling interesting. I find traveling to be interesting. Both are okay. Both are pretty common. One's faster. Okay, so what do you find interesting? In my question, I don't say the to be. Okay, so and then we have well. See with the intonation. Well, in my case, focus words is my. In my case, I find blah 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 to be quite interesting because blah blah blah. Because blah blah blah. Or in that. In that is another great pattern. It's like a kind of a fancy because. Okay. So you can practice with a partner or practice by yourself. You ask your partner, what do you find interesting? Blah blah blah. And then your partner asks you. Now, time up. Of course, it's not only what do you find interesting. There are so many adjectives you could say. What do you find important? What do you find meaningful? What do you find to be meaningful in your life? What do you find challenging? What do you find difficult? What do you find rewarding? I find blah, blah, blah to be rewarding. In my case, I find teaching to be challenging, but also rewarding because it's so nice when students make a transformation in terms of their writing or their speaking and pronunciation. Okay? So just to wrap it up, this short video, I'll give you some examples using not only interesting but other adjectives. Okay, so what do you find interesting? Well, in my case, I find sustainable living to be quite interesting. And by sustainable living, I mean when people live off-grid, maybe out in nature, in a cabin, and they're self-sufficient. Some people are off the grid. They build a cabin or they have a property or maybe a trailer, and they have solar power, and they get their own water, or maybe they do hunting and fishing. They usually have a garden, and this is called self-sufficiency, and it's a very interesting concept. Strangely, it sounds like in the United States that the American government is punishing people for being self-sufficient and prohibiting it. I heard that in Florida and other areas of the United States, the government is saying, no, you can't be off-grid. You can't have your own electricity. You got to buy our electricity, which is really weird and counterintuitive, especially given the fact that we all know that we have some environmental issues, global warming, that kind of thing, right? Okay, so I find self-sufficiency and living off-grid to be interesting. I also find cabin building to be interesting. Actually, I find cabin building to be relaxing. There's a guy on YouTube and his channel is called My Self-Reliance. My Self-Reliance. I recommend this. I love drinking coffee, and it's a guy, and he's a real craftsman. He's building his own long log cabin with hand tools only. And I guess he has some property in the middle of nowhere. And he's building this log cabin, and he makes these 30-minute videos, and he's installing the floor, he's putting in the wood stove, he's putting the moss in between the logs, he put the flooring in. It's really relaxing and just a nice thing to watch. So check it out. Make yourself a coffee and watch this guy. Challenging. What do I find challenging? I find challenging rock. Oh, sorry. I find playing rock guitar to be really challenging. If you want to play rock guitar, learning the song is one thing. But learning the solo is quite another thing, depending on the artist. Some solos are really intricate and difficult to catch, And so I find learning how to play a rock song exactly perfectly, including all the solos, to be quite challenging, right? But I also find playing rock guitar really rewarding because I can express myself, I can entertain myself, I can entertain others, and these are songs that I've always loved since I was young, okay? What other adjectives can you say? Challenging, rewarding, interesting, important, meaningful. If you want, you can make some examples in the comments. In my case, I find blah 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 to be meaningful. In my case, I find blah 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 to be rewarding, challenging, difficult, amazing, special, important, practical, impractical. You can say negative things. In my case, I find blah 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 to be impractical due to the fact that blah 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 blah, right? I have a guitar amplifier. It's a big one. It's a plug-in one. It's great, but it's a little impractical because it's not so portable. So I find my smaller earphone amplifier to be more practical. Okay, there's my phone again. All right, guys. So what we're looking at is really find. I find blah blah blah, and it could be noun or a verb ing, gerund. It could be I find playing guitar. It could be I find music. Because, and then we got the in that. Okay. So as always, guys, you have to practice. You have to say it. And it's a good idea to write it too. Okay. So practice it. Talk to yourself. Talk to your friends in English. And make some examples in the comments, okay? And I think that'll wrap it up for this week, guys. I'll see you next time. But I am going to make many, many, many more of these, okay? And let's take a look. 1 second. Hold on. Okay, so look at this. So the phone's ringing a lot. So look at what we've done so far. Oops, upside down. Look at all this stuff. Here. 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 So what's going to happen is we're going to start mixing and circulating all of these things. We're going to start mixing and circulating all of these things, and you're going to start to see how this works in a kind of non-linear fashion, okay? In the future, we're going to start juggling this material, and that's when it really starts to take off, okay? So we're coming back to this. We're going to be recycling it, and you're going to see how it's a soup of great language. It's a way of thinking and it's a way of speaking. Okay? Anyways, see you next time.